Hi, what's up? It's been a while I have been here, and I thought today let's talk about the reality we are in. Let's talk about our experiences or what we think makes our reality solid, right? I have been after this for a while now because it is pretty interesting to me. Let me share some of my realizations, some of my observations that kind of shift my sense of reality for 360, and let's see what we're gonna find out today. This is something to me that I wish I would have come across like sooner, or I would have come across something that would have made me question. And it's not only actually about questioning, it's also about our well-being. Do you know the feeling of when you know that it feels like obvious and you think like, oh my god, how could I not see that? And when you don't know that, it has never been there. The thing is, everything is always here. It's just our awareness of it. How much of the reality, how much of truth we can hold. It's our ability to hold the truth that the reality offers, the reality that we are in, right? And yeah, this is something I was after for a while, and I was tracking my dreams and all. And so now it feels like, how could I not see that earlier, right? And the reason for sharing this video today is I was hearing all day today the whole city is generated by you. This is and I know where this is coming from. I was on the way yesterday, and I feel like I had the kind of awareness to look at the reality that we are in and to question things, right? And this is what it has always been. Just my experience has been different because I was trying to be a good girl. Not me, not necessarily, it's the inner child. I wasn't aware of that, and it was her need to be, to get that validation from my mother, and I wasn't aware of that, even though I was like, I lived for so long by myself in abroad, and she was carrying that all the time, that she needed that validation from our side, and so everything was reflecting that nature of me, right? And this is why I am so obsessed about questioning about everything, because it definitely, if you wake up and start to see through the illusions, and it comes with a lot of pain, and it's also interesting when you are at some level of consciousness that allows you to observe without getting triggered. And so I think yesterday for me was one of the days where I was looking at the reality as it is, and that's where it comes from. And that's the reason I was hearing the whole day. It's always, it's not that when you want it. Wanting is another thing we could talk about like for hours, but let's not get into that. It's not when you want it, it's always about when you're ready for it, when you are able to hold that level of awareness, right? And as I was looking at it, as I was looking around from absolutely neutralism and from absolute neutral perspective, which is very hard, especially if you're so sensitive and you tune into so many, into collective energy so fast, and especially in Europe, it is like very, very much judgmental. And I was just wondering all these years, like especially the last couple of years, I was thinking, okay, that's a complete different me, and yeah, it's just I wasn't aware of that. I am super receptive of my environment, and this is all are very new, very much new experiences for me. And it is really overwhelming, and now that I can see how my body works and all, it's really interesting to observe and overwhelming. It can be really overwhelming at the same time. And yeah, as I was hearing that many times, like the whole city is generated by you, and I was thinking, I was like going after it, and I was like, okay, the whole city is generated by me. I know the next thing is, okay, there's other people experiencing themselves, existing in my reality, but not the way I think they are. Just as information, it's just the way they are, and both are true. That I am generating this reality, and they are too, and both exist in the same reality. It's for the social perspective of the self, and this is why we are social beings. This is why humans are social beings, and this is why our whole mental aspects are, frequency based. This is why we have brain waves, right? And yeah, then I was thinking, and I'm thinking as I said, I have been for a while, like after it, connecting the dots about what's the difference about dreams and the reality that we happen to be most of the time. Because when you dream, you don't question your experience. When you wake up, you do. And that's the question we should ask ourselves. Because when you dream and you have some kind of non-linear experience, you never question. You think, you just accept it as normal. And when you wake up, if you remember, of course, you think it's awkward. And I was thinking the whole time, why is that? And I'm tracking my dreams, and I am, journaling about my dreams and all. And if you do that for a while, there are patterns that are noticeable, and it is pretty interesting. It's so obvious now, but it hasn't been obvious to me, and I think, yeah, if you're anything like me, maybe it would just inspire you to question the reality you are in, and that's actually the most essential part of, I don't like the word leveling up, but okay, it's a game, so yeah, let's go for leveling up. Why not? As even for the fact that you can understand your own journey, and you can see through the illusions, you can see through the agreements and all, and which is actually creating this reality, the collective agreements. This is so interesting, and I was thinking the whole time, how could I not see that? How could I not see that the whole time? And at the same time, I know that clearly I didn't see it, because I was so in my survival. I have never been out of my survival. It's like a nervous system running on hypervigilance the whole time. And yeah, this is why also I think self-love and self-compassion is crucial, because that's how you get to reflect back the love that you are. Yeah, everything is love. Everything is just different expressions of love. That's the only thing that is not contradictory, and that's the way you get to reflect back the love that you are into the world, and just by being yourself, being authentically you. And that's how you get to inject love into the world, which obviously comes with its positive and negative aspects, for sure. It's either with your authenticity, you will attract your soulmates, your soul people, or you will trigger a bunch of people. You will trigger them by doing nothing but existing, Come on, I had to do nothing. I was triggering my mother just by existing. I was a child. So yeah, that's maybe helping you remember. That's just one aspect of it. And everything you experience in this reality comes with its positive and negative aspects. So yeah, let's come back to the idea of, to dream versus reality. What makes a dream, what makes the reality itself, right? Think about it. What are the core differences? Because if I think about it, it's the time, it's the linearness, right? If that's the word, what that it feels at least like it seems to be linear, right? That gives you the perception of, that gives you the idea of, past, present, and future. And in dreams, it's just, some experiences, random experiences, which is never random, but it's just our perception of it. Or we start there at least, as we are programmed. That's just the baseline program for all of us, that we see things, we think this reality is stable because we have shared collective experiences that gives us the idea that the reality is real and stable, because we see people that look like us, that think like us, most of them, and those seem to have different perception. Usually we find them awkward. We question how can they not see what we can see, right? Or the other way around. That's the shared experience perspective, and the other biggest one is your sensory processor, your sensory senses, that allows you to perceive reality with the given agreements, like, okay, if I look at that, I think of something that my ancestors have thought, or the environment we are in, the collective, that most of them, what they believe tends to become our reality as well, because some of the experiences we tend to overlook, because that doesn't go with the collective experience or the collective perspective, and so what doesn't align with our environment, we tend to ignore those things. I'm mentioning this one specifically because it's never like that you never come across things that you should have questioned, but it's more like that you, as soon as you have something, or you see something, or you hear something, our baseline program doesn't allow you to pay automatically more attention to it. Our brain is not wired for that, right? And this is why it's the reality you're facing is the filtered version of all of your sensory processors and of your brain, obviously, on the very first case. I'm just here to remind you that you cannot work with the given tools of the system and find your answer, especially if you are consciously choosing to question, right? And with the given tools, I mean also the baseline thinking, that what makes it solid, that we can see some things, we can hear some things, and we can also feel that we most of the time tend to ignore, right? And because this is how intelligent our bodies are. They're always tapping into energies, and we're feeling a lot of the things that we ignore or think we can never find it out, so let it be, or it's just some weird experience, or there is something wrong with us. This is the next thing, part of the agreements that we agreed to collectively. That you see, one of the biggest agenda is to be normal, to show up normal, or to look at things as normal, or to speak normal, to to be normal. And you have some kind of, you're feeling a lot of the feelings, and you have unresolved emotions, and you're just unaware of that. And as soon as you have anxiety, you're going to the doctor, you're going to a clinical psychologist or whatever this system offers, and immediately you have some kind of disorder. Every single person has unique expression, and you have the ability to, I don't know, read the energy of the room, or there are so many things. They're not labeling it as uniqueness. It can happen through hypervigilance as well, which can come from such as PTSD, which is another expression of the system, right? So we are always labeling things. We are always labeling things for worse, and especially you have to be very careful when it comes to disorders, because they're always keeping you in the mindset of not being enough. There is always something wrong with you. You're not enough, or the beauty standards are going up and up, and you think there is something wrong with you if you're not looking like these people, right? Or as women, you have to entertain the system by putting all of these chemicals into your body, right? Because you're not feeling enough just the way you are, because the system is running on a faster pace standard beauty program, or a lot of informational programs that you think, well, I don't have that much of knowledge, so I have nothing to offer. So you're always in this invisible world within yourself, or in comparison with others, and which our brain kind of pretty much like to do, right? If you don't go in the deeper layers of it, I'm not saying that it's easy as soon as okay, the brain does it, or brain creates the reality, and you understand the deeper layers of reality, and that intellectualization will help you, get rid of all of your toxic mindset. That's not what I'm trying to tell. It's all about integration. But understanding it, or understanding the things, and start to observe, just neutrally observe, and not participate to the system, as soon as you can see, you have observed, you have noticed the patterns, and everything comes in patterns in nature. Look at the nature, look at the seasons. They are reflecting us, actually. It's so easy, but as I said, it's just the awareness that is, you have to build it up, and meet the things at the level that they are, and see the layers of reality, see the layers of yourself. It's always you. There is nothing outside of you. It's just, we think if we talk about the self, it's just the body. No, it's not just a body, it's everything. It's everything around you. It's always you. This is why you dream, and you have different perception of you. You have different, you have the observer experience of yourself, and you have the bodily experience within the experience, right? And both exist. And this is why, when I personally understood it, it was like a whole 360 shift, and I was thinking, this has always been here. I can't believe that I couldn't see it. There is so much depth of everything. And in every level you get to see on a, you look back and you see things on a even more deeper level than you have seen yesterday, for example, or I don't know, 5 minutes ago. And time doesn't exist, the idea doesn't exist. It's just that's another collective agreement that we did, so that we can have shared experiences, and so that we can experience linear time. And everything, actually, this is why I am here to remind you, just of the fact that you cannot work with the tools of the system and wonder why can't you see, right? Because everything you're using, or we use as our baseline is tools of the system. It's everything, the whole perception of reality is based on the collective agreements, things we have agreed on. Also, have you ever questioned yourself, like, why do you have only 5% of your consciousness, 5% access to your consciousness, like 5% of yourself, of your experience, of your conscious mind is available for you, and the other 95, like barely 5%, right? And the 95% we never question, actually. I have never questioned for a long time, like in my life, like why don't we question these things? Because we have agreed, again, collectively on this on the idea, so that we can have this experience of this in this video game. And have shared experience. Subconscious mind is actually governing your mind. The 95% that is actually governing your life, right? And we tend not to question that for some reason. Why do you think is that? And it's all on purpose. As we said, it's all baseline programming. We have an experience of, we have this experience of biological body to experience physical reality, and that is, for me personally, I am not here to say that we are experiencing the same thing, but this is something, this has also so many layers I can see through. You have to understand, having this is one of the layers, that having this biological body, which is also very complex and intelligent, right? And this is something what makes us believe, majority of us believe, that we are all having the baseline idea of reality, on a collective level. And also another thing is we watch movies, which is also another wonderful tool of the system. Most of them are not here to help you wake up, they are here to keep you asleep, or to protect your ideas that you already have about reality. And all the science fiction movies that you might have watched, and that again reinforces the idea that you have to have an alien body to be in a video game, but we cannot have that because we have a biological body. That's what I wanted to say earlier. And these are the basic layers that we move through when we think about it. And as soon as again base layers, because not that you cannot go to the deeper levels, it's most of us, we fear to lose the reality that we are in, or as we are social beings, your system fears how, if you are gonna, your nervous system will not necessarily question if you're not doing it consciously. It's not necessarily going to offer you the insight that you need to question. It's gonna make you the other way around. It's gonna make you feel anxious or wrong. It's the feeling of losing the ground, right? The ground you're on, definitely. And also your social beings, the fact that we're social beings, that makes it harder for us just to tap into the energy. What if I lose the reality that I am in, the family, all the social connections that I have? Will I survive that? For your system, it's no. If you're not consciously choosing that, because your system, our nervous system isn't, or our brain isn't here to give us the insights or the knowledge or help you wake up. It's they are all conscious, just like every other things in our reality, because they are all generated by you. You can imagine that yourself. Everything is conscious. They can perceive themselves. They know where they are in gravity. This is so. I just wonder, how did I not see all of these things all of these years? Crazy. Also, another thing I've observed is, I think, important to mention, which is my brain starts to get really slow, or I completely zone out, which never happens. Yeah, especially when it comes to decoding reality. which never happens. I'm a very airy, like I'm always in the mind. That's a more like that's my default mode, you know. And that's just running on like 24/7. My mind is always thinking, and it is exhausting. And I have, you know, I have suffered like for many years of insomnia, another label of the system. Why not? But this is how we can also share our experiences, so why not? I have had it like for many years, and it is exhausting, like having a, you know, a mind that never stops. And on top of that, if you cannot sleep, you will experience many like extreme psychosis, extreme spiritual psychosis, and it has been really exhausting, and it is exhausting, but the quality of that changes as you learn to calm your nervous system. Take time for that. Just make it a priority, because it's a choice that we make. And I think it's also important to understand, to honor the journey that this that our body is offering us, right? That our bodies are allowing this experience, and really to honor that, to understand that, to have that compassion for yourself, the experience you are in, which is not really easy, not necessarily, especially with trauma background. And if you have experienced hypervigilance for all of your lives, it leaves a lot of the symptoms. And yeah, for me it's still mindfulness. It's still very exhausting, the act of mindfulness, or to have to try it so hard, which it shouldn't be. But it's just the hypervigilance is already like always here, so that's what makes it so hard, like constantly having the need to redirect it, or getting exhausted, like without even trying so hard. It gets so exhausting. And yeah, this is something which definitely takes time, and that's what requires absolutely a lot of self-compassion and patience with the self, and definitely the honor for the journey that you are in. You have to remind yourself that that we have this body that is really extremely intelligent, and it is literally made for now, for this present moment, not for, you know, not for the past, not for the future, where it needs, which I needed a long while to understand, is that it needs completion. It loves to feel. It loves to feel a lot. And that's what is this experience about. Just to understand that all of the timelines, if we can shut down the mindset of linear timing, which takes itself integration. It's not a one-day process. It's not about intellectualizing things. It's about integration. The reason that we have the body that is actually made for now, the whole time, it is living the past or the anxiousness of the future, is because of, if you have unresolved emotions, it cannot move on, and the future itself is supposed to hold uncertainty, right? It is uncertain. No one knows how everything should unfold, and that's another part of the self that you are constantly unveiling, which is also very unsettling for our bodies. And that's also this is why the idea of future affects us so much, and creates so much tension, right? Because we don't know, we are not aware of our desire, we are not aware of who we become through that desire, and how much we get in our language of our nervous system, for example, or of our brain, the emotional brain. It is usually, if it's not your regular habit, it's automatically dangerous. So you can see it's for your system, it's always exhausting. because I cannot move on and be here if you are not healed, if you have, issues, if you have trauma, if you have unresolved emotions, and they need completion. It can take many phases of life. Each of them might take a long time, but that's also the journey itself. It's just our ability to balance all of this and make space for everything, right? For all the emotions, for the light, for the shadow, for everything that is that makes us human, that makes this experience possible, right? And this is why we are here, and this is why we honor this experience that we are in, our body that is allowing us to have this experience, right? It's actually everything, literally everything we on a collective level agreed as normal, or everything seems to be normal without you question it. It is a tool of the system that we are working, because otherwise there wouldn't be the stability that it allows to feel in some way, just by keeping you stuck, if you know what I mean, right? Literally everything, your identity, your like papers that proves your identity, death, marriage, they're literally selling slavery as normal, right? It's not something you're passionate about, but you believe at a core level that you must do that. Literally everything, the money, that has the value we believe it has because we agreed on it, right? Because we, on a collective level, give it a value. And that's how the system, the game is running that we are in, which again keeps you stuck because you think you need money. Right now, probably the biggest market, one of the biggest ones, is the manifestation market, right? This is another one. Make you feel like you don't have it. You have to chase money, which just doesn't make sense, because without you wanting, you are always manifesting something, either positive or negative or neutral, whatever, right? We are always manifesting something because that's how we are programmed. That is also how you are a co-creator, right? It is been programmed, and you are also forming it with your intention, with your energy, with your frequency, with your intention, with your being, with your essence, and with choices you make, the actions you take. If you make conscious choices, that's how you're forming your reality. And conscious choices, that has consequences as well, just like the positive. It's just if you just shut down the idea of positive or negative, it's just all experience. And it's again, the question is, are you consciously choosing the experience that you're experiencing? If not, there is something we need to change. And for me, it's helpful to understand the layers of the reality, and this is why I have always been kind of knowledge freak. This is what helps me expand. That's just the way I think. I think there is no linear process to anything. As the way we do it, or we started somewhere, it never actually matters, because I used to think like, this is so unfair, life is super unfair and all. I used to think like, well, I have been born into a religion, and that was like super unfair to women especially. I know, okay. I saw women have been the ones that have been taken advantage of, and this is actually, no matter where you live, it's more or less everywhere. We don't really, another huge topic, I just don't want to get into it now. I'm born into a religion that is restrictive, and especially for women, and that has shaped my life and my mother, my family, definitely. That I used to think it was like really unfair. That's what trauma does to you, right? Like, it tends you to keep you in victimization, which was unconscious to me, because I was too strong to victimize myself, and the inner child part of myself that I wasn't aware of. And I thought, as the time is gone, as it's gone, and I cannot change anything about it, or I cannot do any completion, right? And that was the belief I was unconsciously carrying. And yeah, which kind of kept me in the victimhood, or in powerlessness, to think that I cannot change that. And having a childhood that I knew things I have been through. Not all of them, I wasn't aware of all of them, but I was aware of most of them, and most of them were covered with shame, which is like really common, right? The shame is also our mother owned, right? This is what we inherit, actually, in most cases, especially if you're not necessarily taught to, set boundaries or to prioritize yourself and things like that. And later in life you find yourself as this highly sensitive empath that is absorbing every possible negative energy of the room, which is extremely exhausting to experience, and especially for a longer period of time. And with the child, with the hypervigilance, until I started working with my inner child, I had no clue, and that I was always scanning for danger. And my body is wired to scan danger. And that was, for me, as I started to work with my inner child, then I understood the deeper layer of my story, right? That this is why I feel shame or any lower vibrational energy. This is all the baseline programming. This is what we inherit through the family dynamics that we're born into, through religion, through tradition, the society that we're born into. And that's what I let me stay on this, because I'm gonna forget it again probably. So that's what I thought. I used to tell myself a lot. Like, I used to say, like, it's so unfair, like being born into a religion that is like literally so restrictive for anyone, and especially for women. This is what shaped my life a lot. This is why it felt like I didn't know about the world or anything, because of the religion, how it was, it shaped my life, right? It was shaped my perception of reality. And that was like a battle for a while that was trying to put me into victimhood. To think that I didn't have the opportunities to find the truth about reality, or to about myself, or the things that has been presented upside down, and the way your ability to question things has been disabled and turned off, kind of, yeah. And these are the things blocking me from opening up to a world that was that had more. And that's what I couldn't see. This is how I kind of process things, or information. I gather information, or then I integrate it again, not telling how to do it for yourself. You're gonna know how it is in resonance for you, right? This is how. Look, we all have our internal map, we all have our internal GPS, we just wired to forget about that. Again, baseline programming, remind yourself that you never need anything outside of you, never. It was all built to take your power away from you, and this is something also needs integration, especially, again, if you're like, wired to be hyper vigilant. If your system believes that you're constantly in danger or searching for danger, and if it searches, then it finds, definitely. This is always yes, There is no yes, no question. This is always a yes game. Whatever you see is yes. Whatever you believe is yes. The universe is always, the field is always confirming, right? Therefore, you really have to find that, as I said, the neutral place for yourself where you can rest without having to, because contradictions will be there. In the beginning stages, what I personally experienced was a lot of contradictions, and it was killing me, and I was hating. As I said, I wanted to hate everything, and either hate everything or just losing the sense of care, and that's what it does with you every time. You move through those emotions like extreme sadness, numbness, or grief, or apathy. All of these emotions, these are all emotions you feel like this is going to be, that's just another layer of the, how should I say it, another layer how our brain looks for beliefs. The thing is, the brain always needs information. It needs direction, it needs space to process, it needs habits to perform, to know, okay, what is solid for me right now. As you start to reprogram, the brain starts to, it's an extremely intelligent thing, but at the same time it's also very restricted. It's a suffocating space to be in. I would say, because at least for me, as I said, I'm very much in air, I'm very much in my mind kind of nature of Gemini, which I'm not. I don't know why I'm so in my mind. Where I want to go is, I didn't know like how to work with it. I didn't know that the brain needs immediately like a replacement, and I was struggling a lot. I was trying to remove things without redirecting. I was trying to remove things, I was trying to let go without replacing that certain belief that what is now my default, right? Which takes also, like, the integration takes also time, and that was like very much destabilizing for the brain, and that was not a good space to be in. And that's still not. I did a lot of wrong things so that I can't explain you from not doing them as I did, because I had nobody that would guide me. But hey, you can, as I said, you can always like find your way. It's just probably take a little bit longer or whatsoever, without trying to have a fixed opinion about it or expecting some kind of outcome. Just like keep reminding yourself you have always this now, and there's only now to work with, right? However, coming back to the point again, that the relation was restricting my perception of reality, and that's where I was like kind of stuck for a while, and it was really bothering me because I hate to be stuck, and like we all hate to be stuck. No, there is no question about it. It's just how we move through these emotions, right? And it was like really triggering me, and I thought, okay, I born into a system that never allowed me to explore or to do anything, because everything was a no. It was just more or less the question about existing, do I even allowed to exist? And that was the thoughts I have grown up with, right? Thinking, why am I even here if I'm so unwanted? And that's what all of my life was about. All of my life, well, I have been, until I was 17, my mid-17, I was more or less with my family. Then I was also in the family of my ex. Yeah, that was a different drama, but some of us are here to experience more drama than others. That's how it is. Okay. Howsoever, and I was thinking, how could I ever see the truth, or how could I ever learn to question even things on that level if I I am being blocked on existence, on why do I exist isn't even like answered. Like it's everything is a no. Everything I say, and not only no with the name of religion, but also it's covered with shame. You're not only allowed to do these things, but also it was protected with shame. It was justified with shame, and which was really hard, and which would be really hard to any child to, until it gets like your new default. And as a young teenager or as an adult, you start to kind of look at this. You have more options, or you can try a little bit more to go out of your comfort zone, or to try different things out, right? But as a child, you're bound to believe your parents or the environment you grow up in, and that shapes your perception of reality, right? And that's what it was about. And I was so triggered and complaining all the time, only with myself. Yeah, there was really a very negative space to be in, I would say. And then I got into, at the very beginning, I got into religion. I got into theology, but not for a long time. It didn't I didn't know. I didn't know a lot of things about me. I wasn't really aware of the fact that I cannot just do anything. I have to like these things. If I don't like, I can't even read instructions. So ADHD. I would read things. If it's not interesting to me, I cannot even understand what it says. This is so, and I thought, and that's what my school life has been, but no one asked. And in my times, there's not only about finding out what you have or anything, it's the pressure of performance. There's no space for being, or to ask for help, or to just share that you struggle with some things. There's so much. It was more about performance. It was all about performance. And so there's no time, there's no space for these things to find out. And with that kind of base, my 20s were messed up, which is so obvious. And I literally started in my 30s to question everything, literally everything, and that I would do differently now, I would say, than I did. I tried, because I had no guidance. I had no nothing that I could follow, no instructions. I don't like instructions anyways. So then I got into really into knowledge, to know things, to understand things on a deeper level. And so I got into physics and metaphysics and human biology, and also esoteric knowledge. And then I started to understand, that opened up my mind so much. I was following my intuition, and I was going all direction. I was feeling called to, which can also be very exhausting. I cannot do anything on order, but if I like something, I just go for days insane. And that's how I truly understood the idea of that you don't need to born into the right religion or right environment to be able to change your life, which was kind of eating me inside, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And as I was studying about all of this, I started to see that it's actually, there's nothing you need. No resources. There's nothing, literally no resources that you need outside of yourself. It's just the belief that you kind of got infected with. And there are infinite amount of situation that also confirmation. I don't know if you can hear the synchronization, because they increase also with your level of awareness. Anyways, so that's when I started to open up my mind. and really understood the idea that you don't need anything outside of you, and there are so many incidents. If you don't perceive that incident or that event as a positive or as a negative one, it will allow you to see reality from a neutral perspective, and that will allow you to understand things on a deeper level. As it's always, as I said, it's always your ability to question things, and which also changes with your awareness. Like, there are many, like, I'm saying it on purpose because I'm observing it myself. There are many things I couldn't question as I can now in the past. It's not to regret that time, that's what I also did long enough to understand, so it's okay. So it's not to regret, it's just to, for me, I think it makes me honor the experience even more, because that's how interesting it was supposed to be. They sell us the idea that it's this reality and slavery. You should go to any kind of job to earn money, or money is something that you need to exist, or you cannot survive without, which is just another level of program that you're running. And I saw literally you don't anything anywhere you are, if you allow neutrality, it's actually pretty easy. It was just sold so tough, and that's the thing, And it took a long time to be in this space where I am, where I know where I am at and what I'm doing, and to follow the intuition, and to be able to receive the guidance that's also coming, because we have never been alone, and you have always had the capacity to see through things and question things. You just have to overcome your emotional mind and the nervous system. That's what is the most tricky thing in this system, to think that information is everything. But we tend to forget the idea that the body that is actually allowing this experience needs integration, and it's usually about time, which is just part of it, because we are in the planet of most density. It's actually pretty much understandable. It's just, we just don't think about it. Nothing is a coincidence. Everything has its purpose. For me, it helps me to find a neutral point, which is not always easy. Like, after all of the death and rebirth processes, it gets a bit easier. You find a little bit, tiny bit of hair-like space to to sit for a while. That's the neutralism we achieve. Well, I was a bad one. Oh. But that's literally how I felt, like, for so many times. That literally feels like hair. The way you go it's literally, but it changes, it never stays the same, so that's the positive part of it. So I'm not trying to shock you, or it's just, sometimes it's like really tricky, especially in the first stages. I think that's my experience, doesn't have to be for you. That's like, you move through so many contradictions, and there are so many, like, so little space to stay, like, where you find a little bit of positivity that doesn't feel triggering to your whole being vessel. Everything, because everything wants to hate everything. Oh, so bad. Okay. Yeah, that's just how it is, right? Yeah, and also every time I reach, it's not just a one-time process. You come back again and again to that, and you just know at some point, okay, it's not a fix. Nothing is fixed, and nothing in this reality or nothing about this reality is fixed. So even your nervous system is having this experience of dying, which unfortunately we have to allow many times for to allow growth, because there is no cleaner process to it. That's just how it is, and this is why it is called shadow work. And yeah, it is dark, it is hard, and at the same time, if you let go of the resistance, you can see also the beauty. It's just all of it. It's not that, okay, now I have like cried for 48 hours. It's just over for me. It might feel at that moment that this is your end. You cannot overcome it. It's just the combination of the chemicals that our bodies are releasing in that moment. This is why it is called also ego death, right? That's how our bodies are made. Yeah, as I said, if you are able to let go of the resistance, you are also opening up yourself for the beauty of it. As I said, everything is the same. It's the love. It's just also we have to kind of broaden our mindset about love. Like what we naturally think about love is like so restrictive, especially where I come from is also like it used to be in my time. I don't know how it is now, but growing up it was crazy. As I said, like everything is differently expressed and everything is just the same on a different degree. And when you allow yourself to understand that, right, you see it's just the same, and you see the beauty. And the more you can honor your own experience, the I don't know if I want to call it easy. Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, no, I am not. I think it would be against being human to call it easy. It's not easy. No matter how many hundreds of ego deaths you have allowed, it's just the intensity of it gets bigger. Like because you see every time the deeper layer of everything. So it never gets easy. It's just you will find better acceptance, kind of. That's how I would describe it. Yeah. You can see waking up is not about living the dream, it's about seeing through it. I'll just let it be in here. We talked about a lot from everywhere. That's how just my mind is. Super scattered. Yeah. Wherever you are, just take care. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.